Here we go. You're probably wondering how I got here. I'm about to cut into a manifold that retails for over $1,700. It all started 3 months ago when we picked up this 1959 Volvo PV544. It was sitting entirely too close to the crusher. So we decided to save it and turn it into the quickest car that we've ever built. With just under a month remaining, we had better get to work. So let's get to it. Wow guys, we got a lot to update you on. Frankly, I probably should have done a video in between today's video and the previous one, but let's get to it. So as you can see sitting right next to me, a whole lot has changed. So let's start off with the floors. Alright guys, so next we need to start working on the wheel tubs for the back. And in order to do that, we are going to use a spare tire tub that came out of my Fairmont station wagon. So my dad has already cut the thing in half, and now we're going to start rough cutting it to make it fit the shape. But what this provides to us is a very good, basically semicircle shape that we can use for a wheel tub. So carbureted design turned into actual piece of metal. My dad made these pieces for both sides, and I think they turned out pretty awesome. Also, we are starting to work on the filling in the rear bulkhead and patching in the floor over the four-link. We chose to do it in 3 sections for the floor because there really is no way to get in past these bars here. And then Dad just made up the final piece, and he took it to our buddy's house and bead rolled it, and I think it came out pretty nice. And then we'll spot weld those parts onto the pieces that are already in there. Also, we added 2 bars here for a little bit of lateral support. We added a bar in here to reinforce the rear down bar, and a bar here to just reduce the amount of stress that is on this bar. underneath the trunk floor, you can see that my dad made this structure underneath to hold the gas tank. And we have set this car up for a 1955 to 56 Chevrolet tank, similar to what we did in my mom's truck. We got all the floor closed in except for this one section here, which is going to be where the filler neck goes up through. And the goal is to get it to go up through the fender in the factory location on the Volvo. I think this came out pretty spectacular. A friend of ours came over and seam sealed everything for us, so we shouldn't have too many leaks in the floor. My dad was definitely the MVP for this job. He did a lot of work getting everything all nice and ground down and finished well. Frankly, I absolutely hate sheet metal work. It is a pain in the butt to weld and just generally hard to work with, so I was definitely losing energy for it, and my dad pushed us through, so I'm very thankful for that. So make sure that you leave a bunch of thank yous in the comment for my dad. The floors would have probably taken 4 times as long if I had to do them. And I'm very happy that they're done, and I'm very happy with how they came out. Next, we're going to move on to the rear, so let's go to that. For the rear, we chose to go with a brand new third member from Mosier Engineering, and we chose to go with a 3.25 gear ratio. We chose this because that will get us the trap speed that we need in order to go the speeds that we want, and should give us relatively good street manners. For the brake setup, we chose a Speedway bolt-on kit, and that all worked out very nicely. Next, it's time to get the engine ready to drop into the car. For the engine, we're going with a stock bottom end 2006 engine. We did a little bit of a clean job on the pistons and gapped the rings to 30 thousandths on the top and bottom rings. Big thanks to my buddy John Whitaker of the JWhit Foxaholic YouTube channel for help with cleaning and assembling the engine. From there, we installed my dad's ported head that we were running on the Datsun, along with some Schneider Racing reground cams. The goal is to keep the horsepower around 700 horsepower with this particular combo, so this should hold up just fine. Alright guys, so I've been working on this intake runner set, and I am now to the point where I want to port match the intake ports. And I just came up with a pretty neat way to do that. This is just a regular old like little brush that I bought off of Amazon, and I'm basically using it as a sacrificial thing, and I'm putting a curve on it. And then I have some die chem here, and I'm dipping my brush into the die chem, and then since I bent this curve into it, I'm able to reach down into my intake port and mark the backside of the flange and match it up to the intake port shape. And now that I've taken it off, you can see that it has a pretty good outline of the port shape, and I can now port match the intake to the head.
Wiggle it just a little bit.
Yay. Next, I started working on the turbo manifold, and as you can see on the car, we have an Artec Performance T4 exhaust manifold. Unfortunately, the wastegate discharge ran right into the frame, so I had to do a little bit of modification. And basically what I did there was I took the original pieces from the manifold, cut them off, and then relocated them to a different spot. The divider in the wastegate tube is still 100% intact, so we have a true divided setup, just like the original intent. This is basically the only spot we could squeeze in a wastegate with this particular manifold setup, but we'll see what it requires. From there, I put on our S372 turbo, and I got to work starting to rough in our downpipe, but we're gonna have to finish that up next episode. Also, you'll see that the charge pipe on the car is probably one of the shortest ones on any car. And yeah, it's already done. Already got our tile blow-off valve already situated there, ready to go. So from here, we have a ton of work to get done. We still have to completely wire the car. We still have to completely plumb the car, including brakes, fuel, cooling, even though I've started on that a little bit. You know, all the oil lines and transmission lines. So we still have a ton of work to do. And yesterday was 1 month from registration day. So we're coming down to the wire. Hopefully we can get this thing done in time. I think we're in good shape. We've gotten a whole lot more work done in less time. So I have a good feeling about it, but if we run into any roadblocks, like an engine that, you know, is in bad shape or, you know, spins a bearing right off the bat, that's never happened before. But we're gonna try our very hardest to get this thing done for Sick Week 2023. So if you guys are in the area for any of the tracks at Sick Week, we will be there, hopefully with this car and with my station wagon, and we're gonna have a great time no matter what. So leave a comment on what you think this car is gonna be capable of at Sick Week. Make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. Maybe hit the join button, which is next to the subscribe button, if you feel like supporting the channel, or buy a t-shirt. Links are in the description, and we'll see you in the next one.
Hello, here's Hobbs.
Here's our mascot. Unhappy mascot.
Yeah. Okay, let's go, Hobbs. Come on, baby. It's okay.
She just, whenever she goes outside, she just rolls around in dirt.
Oh, really?
You know, she's